fans, this is TNA Knockout SoCal Val here with the one and only Bobby Lashley. TNA is having a huge live event tour in Texas, August 28th, August 29th, and August 30th in San Angelo, Abilene, and Belton, Texas. One of the stars of the show is the one and only Bobby Lashley. This is your first live event tour with TNA. I know you're excited. Have you ever wrestled in Texas before? I have,
and I'm extremely excited. You know, I've been sitting back, and I want to get out into the ring. You know, I miss the wrestling fans. I miss being in front of all those crowds and the yelling and all the commotion of wrestling. It's my chance to get back out there. Texas is a great state to start with.
Now, speaking of rings, what do you expect to be different wrestling in TNA's signature six-sided ring?
I don't think there's any difference. I think there's just different opponents than I've wrestled with in the past. So I'm anxious to get out there and get in some good fights with some of these great superstars in TNA.
That's right. Well, speaking of opponents, why have you chosen to go after the World Elite?
I don't know if I chose them. I think they chose me. You know, they have an alliance with Main Event Mafia, and I think the Main Event Mafia is kind of sicking them after me. And I think that's a bad move for Main Event Mafia.
That's right. Now, you have an extensive MMA background, as we all know. Now, how do you prepare differently to an MMA match as opposed to a wrestling match?
I don't change my training. I think MMA and professional wrestling are kind of hand in hand. You have to be prepared the same way. You know, I'm working on my kicking, my punching, my grappling, everything. I'm going to use the same stuff in my MMA matches that I do in professional wrestling matches, so I'm going to train the same. Really intense training, really hard training, and I will be ready.
Now, Bobby, you have an extensive MMA background, so tell us a little bit about that and what you hope to accomplish in that sport.
Man, you know, MMA is tough, but this year I've been really active, really busy. I've had 4 fights, and I'm 4-0. I've tried to win a match in every different way. My first match was a TKO, second one was a decision, then I had a submission, and then I had a big win against Bob Sapp. It was a pretty big win for me. The guy came in 70 pounds more than me. I took him down and I pounded him out, so I am now 4-0, and I'd like to continue to move on in that path of winning and ultimately become a champion in one of these organizations.
How do you prepare for an MMA match as opposed to a wrestling match?
I prepare the same. Professional wrestling and MMA, to me, it works hand in hand. You know, it has the wrestling aspect, the kicking, punching, and everything else, the jiu-jitsu. I wrestle and I fight the same way. So my coaches are already on standby. You know, when I go home, my boxing coach is ready, my conditioning coach is ready. So I'm just going to continue to train the same way, and when my matches come, whether it's a fight in the ring or a fight in the cage, it's all the same, so I'm going to prepare the same way.
Now, this TNA Live event tour is near the biggest military base in the country, Fort Hood, and you have a military background. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes, and it's great to go to Fort Hood because that's where my dad retired. My dad spent 24 years in the Army. He's really proud of, and he retired from Fort Hood. I spent some time down there also, Compress Cove, clean area, so it's kind of great to get back there. And I, too, spent some time in the Army, so I wrestled for the Army in the World Class Athlete Program, and we traveled around to all the different bases, so to give back to the Army is kind of a big deal for me.
That's right. Well, fans, you do not want to miss this. See Bobby Lashley in his first TNA Live event tour and all your favorite TNA stars when TNA comes to Texas August 28th, 29th, and 30th. We're coming to San Angelo, Abilene, and Belton, Texas. We will see you there. Keep checking back to TNAWrestling.com for all your ticket information.